Welcome to Control Your Narrative Weekly. I am the narrator.
This is week 4. I am EC3. You know, like, there are countless podcasts. Every person on the planet has a podcast.
There's people in the comments right now thinking about starting their own podcast.
And I don't know what we're doing with the podcast. I don't know anything about podcasts, but I know I listen to them. I subscribe to a bunch, and I listen to like a handful. But I've noticed, like, through the weekly content or this daily content, there's like a formulatic thing that people follow. We don't have a formula yet, so we want input from you. What makes you want to come to us to talk about all things narrative and whatever the hell pops in our brains? Just like throw those likes, comments, subscribes, but seriously, on the comments, what do you want us to talk about? What do you want out of this show so we can give it to you? But as I continually think on the podcast format on things we need to establish, all right, we always have a cool little interview. That's it's not an interview, it's a
psychoanalysis.
We're gonna call it psychoanalysis, boom, because we put lingo behind everything we do here in the narrative. We also kind of just rave about what's going on in the narrative, but we need to broaden that. Also, yes, we like to support our friends, our colleagues, small businesses especially. So real fast, we're gonna start off everyone, hey, friend of EC3, friend of the narrative. This week, my fellows at Ruck Pack. You might see on my Instagram me constantly tag these countless pro wrestlers. I've tried to get them for free. I know a couple that have and did not post about them, and I'm going to call them out very soon. But at Ruck Pack just launched a Kickstarter for their new Limitless duffel bag, so I want to send them kudos. They launched it today, and apparently they already met the goal they set out, so that's good.
That's great.
You know, John Clark's great at envisioning things, manifesting it. But they're great people. Bags are awesome. Use promo code EC3, gets you 20% off. But like, real important, their mission is to bring solar panels to impoverished nations. Like, so he sent me a video today of people in the Congo seeing electricity for the first time due to
the ruck.
Due to the ruck. Every sale of ruck goes to solar panels. So I was like, wow, this warmed my cold black heart. So Ruck Pack, cool, at ruck.pack on Instagram.
And it is a solar panel book bag, right?
This one is, yes. As you can see, if I can.
I don't know if the duffel bag is, but
I don't know if the duffel is either.
If you're, out in the nature, this can charge your phone so you can watch Netflix in nature.
Yeah. Which is the exact purpose of the nature walk. So boom.
But yeah, if you're a videographer, DJ, musician, there's a lot of different ways that you can take your studio on the go. If you're an artist, there's just a lot of different, I think we might have to have a narrative ruck party where we talk about all the different things a ruck can do.
I think we want to take one to Mount Kilimanjaro and go on a spiritual journey there and take our rucks with us. Also, as a traveling professional wrestler, all the people that have tried to get one for free, who I hate, and all the people that actually went out of their way and bought them, commended that they can fit their entire gear in their carry-on now due to Ruck, and it has a handy food compartment, so that's cool. I will give a shout out to Rockstar Spud, aka Drake Maverick, who didn't believe me that this was the best bag ever. I'm like, trust me, dude, have I ever lied to you? The answer's no. And then when he received it, he said, dude, I'll never not trust you again. And I'm like, why would you ever not? Another shout out to Project Vinny Pacifico, who obnoxiously asked me if the bag's legit, and he said yes, but he went and bought one, and he paid his money, so I respect that, and he loves it. So
Space Cowboy got one too.
Did he?
Yeah. He says.
Use the promo code?
I think he did. He used the promo code, and he said he's just pumped because he can finally fit his gear under the seat on the plane. That's
true.
Yeah, that's huge.
And it's funny you mentioned Space Cowboy.
Yes.
What a segue, because another thing we want to establish is our projects and also our YouTube membership. Now, Project Narrative is seminars and events I hold to scout talent for the narrative for aspiring professional wrestlers to come try their wares, go through a
psychoanalysis
with us, perhaps.
We should. Can I have a psychoanalysis button?
Yeah.
Psychoanalysis.
If we could afford graphics, it would show up.
Yeah.
Seminar, teach them the art of the business. I teach my 10 tenets of what I believe professional wrestling is. We do matches. Soon that content will be on this channel.
Yeah, so
Control Your Narrative.
There's an announce, yes, we will be releasing a weekly television short form Project Narrative.
Yeah. So all the aspiring professional wrestlers that seek to control their narrative, who want to get out of the groupthink, the toxic bubble, out of the leg-slapping bullshit, and truly learn what this industry could be, come to Project Narrative. But also, Project Narrative is for you. Yes. As you can see, we now have a YouTube membership available, right?
Yes.
And there's a three-tier level.
Tiers.
Yeah. $1, which we get 70 cents of, is basically you're just supporting us.
Yeah, you're into the narrative, you're into to what we're doing.
Yeah.
Support it so we can pay Patch over here.
Yeah, so he's the only one that makes money.
Yeah,
and
right.
he deserves it. He's fresh out of college, and if we lose him, if he has to move home and live with his parents again, this whole project's fucked.
Yeah.
So that you're saving.
Yeah, every 70 cents goes to Patch.
Patch is going to be a player here. You'll see soon.
Yeah.
The $4.99 is what? We get a live chat, which we're starting today.
Yes.
After this.
After
we're
this.
Start this.
Yes.
And then at $10, we're going to do a monthly match watch along.
Yeah.
Bonus discounts. Is there a discount on the 5?
There's a discount on the 5 and the 10. And so with the 10, it's going to be EC3 and one of his friends. Just watch it, whether it could be, for example, EC3 and Spud and the Narrator watch the...
No, just you, because I don't have any friends anymore.
Yeah.
No, but yes, go ahead.
But no, it just, for example, like him and Spud would watch their match from TNA, but also gives us the opportunity to sit down with Westin Blake and we're going to watch, Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat.
That sounds sweet.
That sounds sweet.
And we have Westin Blake today, but that I would pay money to sit and watch wrestling.
And there's a ton of content that we have that is unedited, uncut, and stuff that we couldn't release. I have to do a promo for William. Well, I got 15 minutes of content. I only have 3 minutes of time to put out.
When we filmed William, and the very first thing he said, I was like, keep that no matter what, but then you played it for a test audience, and every test audience who didn't know him, what'd they say? It was disturbing?
It was disturbing, right away. It was just too disturbing. So we were going to put that on the $10 tier. So you're going to get a lot of behind the scenes with Adam Shear from the last Narrative, which a lot more emotion was shown, a lot from the heart about what he wanted to give back to the projects, the indie wrestlers that were there, and it was a lot of amazing moments. So that'll be coming out over the next couple weeks.
But at that $10 level, you become a project yourself. So people have been asking me, and it's hard to communicate because we still don't know what the hell we're doing. How do I get my project number? Well, join us in the live chat after. We'll talk about that. If you don't get a hold of us there, drop me a DM on IG. Drop Control Your Narrative a DM on IG. They're more likely to answer because I'm way too busy.
And if you're listening to this, also drop them a DM.
Yeah. So as you become the project, we will discuss your number and how I can therefore promote you on my little project thing I'm building. But what brought that whole rant about is you mentioned Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
And Space Cowboy has a little bit he'd like to say about Project Narrative.
The Space Cowboy.
Hi, I'm the Space Cowboy Stacey Alexander, and I'm the lead project here at Control Your Narrative. And what's it like to be a project? Well, I'll tell you. I get to spend long hours working for low wages here at Justified Prints, dealing with the various companies that we can deal with. I have to stare at dogs and silly slogans all day on shirts. I really enjoy it. So you, the viewer, should join Control Your Narrative yourself. We have YouTube subscriptions. Our DMs are open on the Control Your Narrative Instagram. There's at least 2 different avenues that you could use to connect to us as projects. You get a neat number that we don't even pick out for you. We make you do that yourself. We're like a big family here at The Narrative, except we're very small. So join today.
So there it is. Space Cowboy, our lead project.
By default.
By default, yeah.
Totally by default.
Abraham's pretty cool too.
He literally wears a hat to print in. There's something...
A cowboy hat.
This is actually to see if he actually watches the content. I bet he does because he's on his phone all the time, especially when he's supposed to be working. But there's something to him. If he gets past the goofy bullshit, he could be a serious player. But I love the goofy bullshit too.
Yeah.
So the goofy bullshit got his foot in the door. And here's another thing, aspiring pro wrestlers, aspiring projects. He took an opportunity because today he was like, we're too busy, we can't even film. And I'm like, no, if you can do it in one take, what do you want me to talk about? This and this. How do you want me to do it? I want you to do it as you. Took the opportunity, Nailed it. I was very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. The fact that we didn't let him take a break, like he had to keep on printing to do that.
Yeah.
Which, he looked at me when I was like, no, you're going to keep on printing. Oh, okay. And I think that might have helped him with his confidence because he nailed that.
Yeah. You never know when opportunity comes, not only in wrestling, but in life, and taking one minuscule opportunity to maybe 1,000 people will see that, but maybe it leads to something more. It's definitely going to lead to a week 2.
Yeah.
When we were off, we already talked about week 3 where he's going to play with Patch in a tin can. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
But
We'll show how homeless our projects are.
he drives a Volkswagen. He's doing okay.
He's doing all right. But today on the show, we have Westin Blake. A little psychoanalysis I did with Westin Blake.
Hold. Wait. We need more content.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to try something out.
All right. Cool.
Right. This can maybe we can cut it and go play on its own, but I've been wanting to do this since rant of the week.
Okay.
I think I need to do a rant of the week.
Okay. Let me start that off.
This is all going to be in there, by the way, this whole conversation.
Oh, this whole conversation?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's going to show me
it stays.
okay, how would.
Yeah. Throw me the
All
rant
right.
of the week.
EC3, the essential character. What is your rant of the week?
People on bikes.
Ooh.
All right. So I get the memes, I get the shithead Steve memes. We make fun of cyclists and they have their their gear on and their helmets and their goggles, and then they take up the road and they annoy us. And it's just I've gotten it, I understand it. Seems a little pretentious, but whatever, it never really affected me. Then I moved to a new part of Florida where there's this great bike trail.
It's wonderful.
Wonderful bike trail. And I'm like, I should get a bike. I should do something to get outside more, take my head out, put it in the clouds and just enjoy nature while at the same time getting my heart rate up a little bit, but that way I'm not killing myself in the gym all the time. I'm feeling active. I'm gonna get a bike,
Mm-hmm.
all right? So local bike shop, I walk in there. I mean, I'm an interesting looking person when I walk into a civilian location, to say the least. I was the top 1%, so I have financial stability and I can buy a bike. I'm also usually in a tight shirt and some version of short shorts in casual places, but
Confidence enhancers.
indeed. But they didn't look at me. They didn't say hi. They didn't say, hello, can I help you? And I'm walking in on the first time. I'm blind to bike sales, so at the same time, I kind of don't want to be bothered. I want to get a feel for it. So I'm looking around. I'm like, damn, these are kind of expensive. I go back, I do my research, all right? And I'm like, all right, I think a Specialized XL21, good. I talked to Baron Corbin, who's a big biker. I talked to Cher. He gets a bike. Oh, I got a Trek, man. They all the bells and whistles. How often do you ride it? Never. Okay, cool. I talked to Baron. He's like, yeah, go Specialized this and that. I'm like, all right, I know something about bikes. Hit a guy up on Facebook Marketplace. All right, we're battling back and forth. Can't meet. Finally, I can go meet him. Drive into his house to maybe look at a used bike. Guy's like, sorry, wife needs dinner. Can't be there. I got to go get it. I'm like, well, fuck you, dude. The one time I can meet with you, I'm not buying your shitty fucking trash bike. Anyways, I'm going big. I'm going new. I'm going to go back to the bike shop. I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to buy the most expensive bike and I'm going to fucking ride it through, I don't want to say my town, but up and down this trail, pick up the babes, just be a full biker, but without the shitty little outfit on. So I walk back in there, all right? Now I'm confident. Now I know what I'm doing. Looking for bikes. All right. Walk in, 3 people, 3 employees, off hours. Don't even look at me. I'm sorry, do I not fit the bike motif? Are you discriminating against me because of my large muscles and my angry demeanor? I'm actually a very nice fucking person. I'm a gentleman and a fucking scholar because I read books, but you can't even take the time in your shop to even acknowledge I exist when I'm gonna spend 5 fucking grand on a brand new bike. So I walk around, nothing. I say, you know what? Fuck you. And I say that. I just, well, fuck you. And I walked out. They're probably like, that guy was an asshole. I was right. Well, I wouldn't have been. I would have made you richer if you talked to me because I was going to buy a bike. So I'm leaving. I'm huffing and puffing. That was a Saturday. Thinking about going to a bike store Sunday, but guess what? The bike store I wanted to go to was like, Sunday closed. We're out riding. LOL. Shut you fucking. It's a commerce day. It's a Sunday. Put one person in the shop. You'll probably make a sale. Idiot. All right, fine, it's Monday, leg day, even better. So I'm already fired up. I'm driving to go to the gym. I pull up to a crosswalk. Now I understand white lines. I'm maybe a half an inch over it, half an inch. 10-2 on the steering wheel, got my fucking music player and I'm feeling good, and I hear the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, look, and it's the guy I described, the guy with the helmet, he's clad in the whole gear, fucking goggles on, he goes, excuse me. And, usually, like, when people are confrontational in a normal world, nobody likes conflict, but I love it, I live for it, I just thrive on it. So, excuse me, like he's gonna big dog me, and I say, go the fuck around! What's wrong with you, man? There's plenty of road right there. He just pedals away like a pussy. So, like, what an asshole, what a pretentious group of people with these fucking bikes. Oh, we got 2 wheels, not 4, we're better than you. No, you're not. You're the same pieces of shit as everybody else. You fucking ride a bike, you might as well not put your cart back. You suck. See you on the trails. All right.
And that is what a personality turned up to 11 is like. This is actually who he really is. Like, so the narrative is our reality. This is pure capturing our reality. Let me know if you want to borrow my bike. Westin Blake.
There you go, Eddie's laughing. Are you happy?
Yeah, Ed, I'm laughing. We're speaking to Ed. Ed is our internet wrestling community guru. Ed Bates, Set Tab Photography. He literally just stinks up the room with his laugh wherever he goes. Decent knowledge on the kid, but boy, that laugh. He was filming the last narrative. Every time he started laughing, we're all trying to make this dark art, and he'd laugh, and we'd all be like, oh. Like, what is why?
I'd rather hear my parents fuck than hear his laugh.
Yeah. And he admits it too. He hates his laugh, but then he keeps on doing it. But today we have Westin Blake on the pod. Do a really amazing psychoanalysis with him. It was great because you can totally tell that Corey, Westin Blake, has a story that he hasn't been able to tell yet, and he has, where a lot of his career was at the PC and with NXT and then up to the main roster. He has such a different perspective of, and we talk a lot about this in the interview, is that the psychoanalysis, is that he is a nice guy, and nice guys always do finish last because he didn't put his foot down, fight for more things. That's why he's a great tag team wrestler, he's a great team player. And you see him in the narrative actually show you what is there and what the new Westin Blake is all about.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, cool.
I mean, throw it to the interview.
Yeah.
I was gonna say about your nice guy, like, he is a good man, but what happens when a good man goes bad?
Westin Blake, you're free.
That I am.
There you are.
Yes, sir, and it feels good.
Feels good?
Yeah, it feels great, man.
Feels good?
Yeah, it feels great to be free, out here doing whatever I can to be the best me. And I believe that's what this product is bringing.
The best out of you?
The best out of me.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can bring in the best out of this product.
You brought the best out of the back of John Schuyler's head. So let's talk about the actual narrative, before we get in a little bit about your career. First off, it was great you came in for your onboarding, but you already had all your promos filmed, which was really great.
Yeah. I said, well, that was the whole, control your narrative story. I mean, I saw the first one, obviously, and I was very intrigued, and just the way it was shot and just the way people were able to tell their stories in such a way and integrated with the wrestling and stuff like that, and the way that it was shot beautifully and it was well done. And so it was just something that was always intriguing. And so once I found out about my release and stuff like that, I felt like I had a story to tell, and I didn't know how to tell it. And I needed a camera crew and stuff like that. Fortunately, I came across some friends of mine. They were able to help me out, and I put my vision, and they were able to capture some of the moments and stuff like that of my story coming to life. And then when you reached out, along with EC3, coming to want me to tell my story, it just happened to fall into place that I was that I already shot stuff for that and everything like that. And so
I remember you showing me and already said free Westin Blake.
Yeah.
We're just like, all right, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And that is, it was, you know, obviously we're going to be creating a lot more together, but it's really nice that when someone comes in with something already ready to go, that we can just plug right in.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I just got word from the office that the new term in our universe, in our reality, is going to be psychoanalysis instead of onboarding. So when you came in for your psychoanalysis and we really beat down the insecurities of your career, it was amazing because I don't know if you knew this, but when we were creating the second one, EC3 reaches out to John Schuyler and he's like, "Who do you want to fight in the narrative? Who do you want to bring out the best in you?"
Yeah.
And he says right away, Westin Blake.
Oh,
and it was one of those
incredible.
things where everybody in the room were like, ding, 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 ding. And then we brought to Adam, and Adam's like, yes, and unfortunately, I was, ignorant like the rest of the world. I didn't get to see you a lot on TV.
Right.
I watched you a lot when I moved here at NXT. But I start hearing like you were the, kind of the unsung hero, the king of the live events.
Right. Yes. And so that's kind of where I really made a name for myself, and like also with and made a name from a coach's standpoint there at the Performance Center and stuff, is where this guy was reliable. This guy can have matches with anyone. This guy can make a shit salad, a beautiful shit sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So it was just something that I take a lot of pride in. When growing up, my dad says if you're gonna do something, do it 110% and do it right. And that's something that I loved. Like I said, I wasn't the most notable variety person on TV, but I feel like whatever I did, I worked my ass off to get that spot. And from the day that I started my wrestling career, that's where I put all my focus and all my energy and being the best of myself, and hopefully I can bring out the best in other people and also bring out the best in companies that I work with, and just hoping to make everyone around me just a little bit better.
Yeah, and you've told me stories of like, when they would bring people in Performance Center and they were like you were the one that was working out with them and bringing out the best in them, and like, hey, A, B, and C has to get ready for TV. Can you go and work with Corey at the Performance Center? So like you started getting like not a coaching, but you were enhancement to a lot of everybody.
Yeah, and the thing about it was when kind of when you start getting that reputation of like, oh man, this guy can go, this guy can work, he can get people ready for TV. I was working with a wide range of people, anywhere from like, Roderick Strong came on. I had his first match on live events, Malachi Black, or Aleister Black that he was called, and the other company. And so I had a lot of those guys' first matches with WWE because they know the coaches and the producers of that show. They knew like, okay, we can put with this guy and he would know that he'll hit his times, he can produce a great match, and he can work with these guys. And not only them, but was a lot of people's first matches as well.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people that were not from this country, whether they come from Brazil or China or anywhere. A lot of those people's that their first match, they felt comfortable enough for me to like, hey, go in there, Westin Blake can put them through a nice match. Hopefully they can learn something, and hopefully that can get something better for them. And that's something that you take a lot of pride in. Of course, you're very happy, you're very humbled by doing it. So, but then comes a time where you're like, all right, well, I need to take a step back, and I don't want to get lost here.
Yeah,
I need to start.
You don't want to stay in that spot.
Yeah, I want to progress. I want to start climbing the card a little bit. I want to start getting closer. I want people to start investing in me as much as I've invested in myself. So as much as I took pride in that and getting to wrestle people, people from like Shinsuke Nakamura, like I said, Roger Strong, and those types of headline people, I've also know that I can wrestle them and then also wrestle anyone, Caesar Bononi and stuff like that. Tion Bing, who was there for a little bit, and it was just nice to see the progression of having their first match. There was a kid, Denzel, I forget what his name is now. It's Lights Camera Jackson, I believe his name is. But yeah, he was another one that that, he thanked me a lot for, producing his first match. He said, thank you for making it comfortable and stuff like that. And, of course, I was always happy to do that. But now it's my time. And now it's my time to show what I can really do.
And you did do that in the narrative. The one thing I want to get into before we get into a little bit more of your professional career is your wrestling psychology, like what your background is. And it's obvious that there's a lot of Randy Savage and Chris Benoit in your fundamentals, but there's, you were trained in the Dory Funk background. So I see so much like classic NWA Southern wrestling, just in the way you tell your stories, in the way you work, in the way in your snug, in your stuff.
Yeah.
I know that's something you really pride yourself on. We'll talk a little bit about that.
No, it's there's a lot of things in this business and stuff like that you can't control, and so the one things that you can't control is in that ring and how you make yourself look and how the story you're trying to portray. Those are all things that you can control, as in controlling your narrative and type thing. So, of course, I grew up a wrestling fan, and so I have many influences. I watch wrestling all over, from Japan and stuff like that. Dory Funk was actually the one that introduced, the Japan wrestling, because growing up,
blow your mind at that point.
At that time, that was something, and that's when I really started watching independent wrestling. I want to say back when I started training with him, because I figured I'm going to be working with a lot of these people here soon. But growing up, it was very much WWE, WCW, and then, early 2000s ECW.
Yeah.
And so, so those influences.
The Carino days.
The Carino days, very much so. A big fan of his coming through. And it was just nice that now that I'm in this business, that you get to meet these people and you get to learn from them and ask them their point of views and their psychologies and stuff like that, only to enhance. And even if you take just a percentage of what they say, or a coaching tip or whatever that is, it's a percent that you're getting better.
Yes.
And so, like I said, with Dory, he has his fingerprints all over me. He was kind of the man that laid down the foundation of how you storytell, how you can portray this in a match. Not so much about the moves you do and stuff like that, but so much of the story that you're telling and you're trying to portray to the fans. And when I looked at Dory's stuff, and of course his brother Terry, who I was a tremendous fan of, all their stuff looked great. It looked in there. You couldn't.
It was all believable.
Yeah, and that's where I was just getting at, to where if anyone sees my work, whether NXT or now that on the narrative, anywhere I work, I want someone to be like, someone would say, maybe wrestling isn't real, but I believe he is, type thing. Like I believe in his work and what he's doing, and he's making me believe. And if that's something, if I can make, if I make myself believable, then I can make the crowd believe what I'm doing.
And that is something EC3 went up to all the projects afterwards. Like after, do you see how, do you get it now? You know what I mean? And that was because we felt everything was in chronological, because it is our reality.
Yeah.
You were the second match, but like in reality, you were the first real like professional wrestling match that turned into a fight. You know what I mean? Which was great, because we got to start with the actual psychology of how wrestling works.
Yeah.
And then as it turns into a fight, you start showing your true intentions and laying them in, and kind of make an example of John Schuyler, and putting the focus on yourself instead of him.
Yeah. So John Schuyler, who I have the utmost respect for with his career, he's come a long way and stuff like that. And I remember him early on in NXT, coming back and doing extras and stuff like that. So me and him always hit it off. But once you're in that ring, I'm coming for your head. And, make no bones about it. Like you can be my best friend in the world, but that, the story that I'm trying to tell is that I want to beat you in the worst way. And that's what sometimes I think kind of gets lost these days. Sometimes with the art of professional wrestling, I think sometimes there's it gets too cute and pretty and stuff like that, when I think some of the best stuff and some of the best storytelling is where it's a little bit rugged, a little bit, where you blur that line where you're like, oh man, I don't know, maybe they don't like each other, maybe they do, maybe there is a little bit of beef there. whether it's a certain way they react or you hit something or something like that, and of course you have the showmanship, like I said here, dropping an elbow, more a little bit high flying and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, when you're going into a wrestling match, it's a contest and you want to come out on top of it.
Absolutely, and that is it is a lost art form at that point, where like you don't see that a lot anymore, and we're trying to kind of put it back into the and using the narrative kind of relaunch that, like, hey, this is reality, this is gonna hurt. I mean, when I was in the ring, I was filming and just super like, it's not very manly to say scared, but like there was a whole like, oh shit, like I'm in danger filming this, and that was a whole nother level of like, I didn't know where to even stand to film because it was just coming from every angle. And not to mention, with that being said, when I was editing and I got legit excited, you know what I mean? Because I got to finally see the story play out, the elbows and the drop kicks, and just like, just saying elbow and drop kick, not like, hey, you're doing a Canadian destroyer. No, you hit an elbow and it was brutal. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's something that, that, like I said, going back to Dory Funk, is something, if you can make the tiniest little details something matter, it's going to make whatever you do that much bigger and that much better. So like, with those strikes, with the holds, the wrist locks, the headlock takeovers, the drop kicks, the forearms, every strike, if you make that detail matter, and your facial expressions and stuff like that, and just everything where it's like, ooh, ah, ooh, but, and then all of a sudden, I think when you do something big, spectacular, like off a top rope, like an elbow or a shooting star or whatever it is, or a big dive or something like that, I think people would be more invested, and then they'll be like, oh my God, this is, something that's brutal and something that's incredible as well, and it's a beautiful story being told.
And to be, once that starts happening, because throughout your contest, it just definitely, like, out of nowhere, the belief has been suspended, and you're, let me change gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about developmental into, or PC into NXT. Do you have, I know, we hang out a lot here at Justified Prince, but there was a pitched character that I was supposed to ask you about. That I was sent a live tweet from Space Cowboy to ask about a pitched character.
There were several pitched characters, but my very first character that was brought to me when I was with NXT way back in 2013. I didn't even have my name yet, because back then their process, you had to send in your list of names, and you had to wait until you got the clear.
Your list of two first names.
Yeah,
it was always two first names.
And so I was waiting on my list of names and stuff like that, but I got with a creative guy there who worked closely with Dusty Rhodes, and we pitched this character and we went by Angus Chuck. Angus Chuck, because at that time I was one of the only cowboys there, because I came in, I was from Texas and stuff like that. I grew up on a horse farm. I did the whole ranching and farming and stuff like that, and so like I had the background for this character, and so we started pitching and playing with it and stuff, and my motto would have been, come and get it. Like I said, and at this
now, does that happen like before you hit your finisher, or is that just the end of a promo?
So we tinkered with it multiple ways. We did.
I'm sorry, that sucks. That fucking sucks.
Come and get it.
Come and get it.
No. Did Dusty have anything to do with come and get it, or is it?
No. I mean, this was something that we were going to pitch to Dusty. So we had the outfit and stuff like that, and we were going to come up, like, the name was Angus Chuck and stuff like that. And you got to remember, like, this is 2013, very PG WWE at this time. So I mean, and NXT back then. NXT wasn't trying to be a brand. They were very much trying to develop a character or something that they can pitch to get up on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. So NXT was a completely different brand back then.
It was legit developmental.
It was the developmental where you were just trying to get characters or get talent to get a character and try to get them up to the main roster. And so that was the goal. That was the goal of mine. But obviously it didn't pan out or work out with that. But it is a cool, fun little story. Like I said, it was just a different time. You know, I mean, now I guess
you're actually pretty happy that you didn't have to ever do that in front of a live crowd. I hope, you know.
Yeah, very happy. You know, at that time I was a young kid. And
that really stereotypes you as a cowboy?
A young kid, and I was just trying to make something, you know, of myself, and I was just trying to get on TV or get on NXT. You're just trying to, you know, go up that ladder where, all right, get on live events. Once you get on live events, all right, get on TV. Then once you get on TV, you show that you can work and do this. And
it was engraved in your head that there was a pecking order.
Very much a pecking order.
So go a little bit into how out of nowhere you're pitching ideas, and out of nowhere you're with Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy. Yep. And that tag team had chemistry right away. It's like dubstep was still cool. You guys would come out to some dubstep. It was like there wasn't a lot to like. There wasn't like a tag team that had like, hey, you guys are this character. It's just like, hey, you look close enough, put the girl here, and it just really had like synergy right away. You know?
Right. Yeah. So with me and Buddy, we had the same tryout together, and so we got hired at the same exact time. And so at that time we were both. You know, still just doing our single stuff and working on live events and stuff like that. Just working on six mans and anything like that. And Buddy broke his jaw at that time. So I was still working, and when he started coming back, he was training. It was brought to my attention, like, hey, like, you know, kind of the same thing. You'll share similar looks. Maybe have you ever thought about tagging with him? And at that time, me and Buddy, we hung out, you know, sometimes go work out together or just hang out in general. And so I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And that night I went to a promo class with Dusty Rhodes, and I cut my promo. And at the end of my promo, Dusty asked me, hey, come back tomorrow, and I want you to cut a promo with Buddy. And I said, yeah, that's no problem. So I call up Buddy and pitch him the idea, and he goes, "Oh, really?" He's like, "I haven't heard anything about it." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, so we'll come back. We'll come back tomorrow and do it." And we did. And then that weekend, we started getting reps on live events. We started working with like Lucha Dragons and stuff. I mean, at that time, I had to borrow. Like I said, we had an opportunity. He had like white shorts and with white kick pads, and all I had at that time was black. So I had to borrow someone's boots, someone's white boots, and then I had to borrow someone's white trunks.
Oh, wow.
Just to where we can look cohesive enough to where you're like, okay, these are just not two guys put together. Like, okay, this could be a tag team. And we did. We clicked right away. We clicked with the Lucha Dragons. We started clicking as a tag team. And I remember we got pulled into the office at that time after probably about 6 or 7 weeks of tagging together. And we were told, hey, do not invest in this tag team. He said,
sounds familiar, yeah.
He said, do not invest in this. This is just strictly to get y'all reps.
Yeah.
And so when me and Buddy left that meeting, we're like, screw that. I was like, well, I think we have something. Let's at least get matching gear.
Yeah.
And so if we're ever on TV, we got matching gear. And we did. And luckily we did, because we had the matching gear, and we come out on TVs, and we were wrestling, I want to say Lucha Dragons. And we got to the back, and Triple H and of course all the producers were like, "Oh, we loved it. They like, you'll have the matching gear. You got a great look." And so that's when I think the ball started rolling with Buddy and myself, where we started tagging. Then as we were tagging, we at this time we started pitching the idea of Alexa.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to the writers, but just kind of like in our little circle, like, oh man, I think if we bringAlexa on,
it really would. That's the centerpiece.
That would be like a centerpiece, and that type of stuff. And back at this time, there were Performance Center matches and stuff like that, and these were just matches done in front of your peers and coaches, and then these were basically ideas, a tag or singles person that if they had a character. This is how they would, put it on the show. So you would just do it in front of these, and they would film it. That way you can get it to Triple H or one of the main writers and stuff like that. And we did it. So we pitched, Alexa with us at that time, on a Performance Center show. And I think that put the idea in their head. I think Triple H was there when he saw it. And I think he liked the look and stuff like that. And then shortly after, that's when we started our program with Enzo, Cass, and Carmella.
Yeah.
And it was, I thought what I like about it so much is that I don't think anyone was expecting that. No one saw like Alexa Bliss, like this, glitter princess, coming with us, So it was definitely a shock factor.
Six talent, like that's all like electricity, especially during that time. Like everybody's just hitting like thunderbolt here with every performance,
Yeah.
Like,
I know, and it was a lot of fun. It was just like you said, like a lightning bolt, and we were on a ride right there because like you said, Enzo and Cass were just huge, and Carmella just joined them and stuff like that. So it was just everyone that was involved. There's just incredibly talented people, and that that helped us project our.
Now let me ask a little bit about the Forgotten Sons, because you have what not many people know is that you have an insane close relationship with Steve. Yes. And he's at Impact now, kicking ass. We hope that he might knock on the door sometime. But
right.
How did, because obviously you get split up, Buddy Murphy and everybody starts. Go through the process of getting pitched with him, and because you guys did it at NXT first. I remember seeing it at live events and then on TV.
Yeah, we did it. We did on live events. There at NXT. I said once me and Buddy split, and once we found out like, okay, we're gonna be trying to do single stuff, and at that time and NXT, they just kept bringing more and more people in. So at that time, I was pitching a character to try to get on NXT TV, and it just wasn't working out, wasn't panning out, And Steve and I, we befriended each other right when he got there. He let me borrow his truck. Before I even knew him, before he even knew who my name was. I was moving some furniture, and he was the only guy that knew had a truck at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked him, hey, can I borrow your truck? And without hesitation, he said yes.
That's how dudes are born.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I was like, oh man, this guy seems great. This guy doesn't even know me, but lets me borrow his truck. So that night, I took him out to dinner, and and I paid for his dinner and stuff like that. And that's when we started like talking, and we just became best of friends. And we, of course, which is funny because I'm from Texas, he's from Jersey. It's like two completely
different personalities,
polar opposites.
Yeah.
But we just started talking. And he had ideas about like his character and stuff, and of course that's when me and Murphy were kind of taking off, and we were all in the car ride together, and so then once me and Buddy split, and Steve was still doing his thing, and I was trying to do my thing as a singles because I just got out of a tag, and it just wasn't taking off. And at that time, people just kept coming in waves, like where they come in, they go straight to TV, come in straight to TV.
Because the landscape changed at that point.
Completely changed, yeah.
Where
this is
there
2016.
So Dusty's not there anymore. The structure is more or less like, it went from building homemade talent to we're just going to sign the top, internet darling.
Yep.
They're going to stop in, win the championship, go right to TV. So everybody that was there, and you've explained this to me, that's why I'm saying it to the viewer or listener, is that everything then became, that's your Kevin Owens, your Samoa Joes, everybody just showed up, did the thing, peaced out, and didn't give you guys a lot of chance to really understand what the mix is because you're just background at that point.
Right, yeah, and you're just trying to find a spot, and it seems like every time there was a spot about to be open, another one would come in, and they would fill that spot. So we were just, and it was about the end of 2016, and I was kind of being told like, hey, you need to try something else. You need to pitch another character or something like that. And at that time, I looked at the tag team landscape again, and I realized like, oh man, there's not many tag teams that are about to be left. AOP was just about to go up. I believe Revival just went up at that time, and or FTRs as there are now. DIY just split. Yeah. So I saw an opportunity, and so I started talking with Steve. I'm like, hey, what do you think about tagging? And he's like, oh, that we knew right away that would be great. Yeah. That was something that was a dream job would do. Steve and I be together with Forgotten Sons. So we did. We came back, start very first day, January 2017, we pitched. Me and him started pitching a tag team, and that was a cool concept because me and him actually pitched it, and we actually did, like, our fingerprints were kind of invested in that.
I didn't know that. So it was you guys before even they had.
No, they did. This was not a pitch to us. This wasn't like their idea. This was, I was told, like I said, in 2016, like, hey, come up with something different. And then January, me and Steve present a tag team, like, here, kind of.
Was it was obviously Sons of Anarchy just like right on the tip of your tongue, or was that how it kind of morphed into it? Like,
well, no, it morphed into that because at that time we were both kind of clean cut, like clean shaven and stuff like that. I still had like blonde hair, and first couple of promos we're cutting, we're sitting there and we're kind of giving off like this baby face type of look, and we were just like. I just told him, like, well, I don't want to be babyface. And I was like, no. And especially with this landscape, like, I would much rather work on the heel side. So we started deciding, well, let's rough up our look a little bit. Let's start growing out our beards. He started growing out his hair, which he hated, because he's always been a military high and tight and stuff like that, and I already had the long blonde hair at that time. But I stopped dyeing my hair. I wanted to go more natural, more darker look and stuff like that. And then as we started getting it, that's when the wheels started spinning. Like, man, we can go do Sons of Anarchy type stuff, And that's what we were going. Sons of Anarchy, kind of APA, with the wrestling world. And man, it seemed like we would get a little bit, we would get an inch, and we would knock it out of the park, but then they would just reel it back. And it was just, I remember we were finally going to debut. Me and him were finally going to debut, and we were just, all right, it's about time. We've been pitching stuff for about 9 months. Finally going to debut. We do the match, we cut the promo and everything like that. We're being introduced in the Dusty Tag Team Classic, and we get to the back, and they're like, yeah, we're going to scrap that. We're going to cut it. And of course, we were devastated. We were just like, "What is it? Why y'all are doing this?" And that type of stuff. And then we're kind of kept off TV. And then they pitched a third member with us. So they were, I believe it was Steve Carino and a couple other people in the office that were like, "Hey, maybe if we give you like a heater, if we give you like a third guy that kind of." Bring it all together, and which he did. He did bring it all together. Of course, him and Cuddy at that time were both, prior military and stuff like that. So they had a bond. Me and him actually met years ago at TNA, and he gave me nice advice and stuff like that. And so we kind of bonded. Once we're like, okay, let's try to make this work, and eventually we did.
And that was the beautiful thing about Forgotten Sons was you knew that it was to retired military. There was so much American to that. There was so much, like there was a blue collar feel to it. There was a badassery. There was so many that didn't really, I don't know, get enough of the light of day, because I think the people that started producing it as you went up didn't really understand that. You know what I mean? They weren't coming from the background of, I was raised by, a motorcycle gang guy, and there's a different type of patriot to that. You know, and I saw that in Forgotten Sons. Like I was a bummer that it didn't do more.
So we had some plans with that, and we were very excited for it. Like I said, the way we came off is they were very military, but I was the one guy that actually appreciated them, where they felt like the world casted them out. Where they was like, oh, thank you for your service, get out of here. Type thing.
Which is a lot of the truth.
And which I was the one guy that was like, no, these are my band of brothers type thing. Like we're gonna, and we're gonna take on this world, our empire together. And that's what we were pitching, and that's what we were trying to become the light of day. And I think it definitely had some legs. It definitely got cut short, for multiple reasons and stuff like that.
Well, walk the listener through. You're in the main roster. Walk through the pitching process with the writers. We don't have to go into super detail, but there's a pecking order of writers that they change out all the time. And then they have to go into a meeting and pitch the boss. And go through the process of what happens once you get to that point.
Yeah, it's a weird time because we get told that we're getting called up. We were at NXT at that time. We're going to get called up, and of course, Triple H was sitting there telling us, "Hey, y'all are going to be working with like the Usos and Roman. Y'all are going to be working with New Day and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting stuff we can work, with the three of y'all, with three different groups and factions." So we were excited, and we planned on going up to Connecticut to talk with Vince and several of the writers and stuff like that to kind of see, who we are and what our ideas were. But that got cut short because of COVID. And the pandemic hit, and then of course everything shut down, and then everything got moved to the Performance Center. So we never got that meeting with Vince. We never got to talk with like our writer or face-to-face or anything like that, which I believe is very important.
Important, yeah.
Very important when it comes to, I think, talent and seeing talent face-to-face and their vision and stuff like that.
Because it's like you're selling it, it's performing it. It's,
right.
It's walking.
Yeah. It's you having the look, you're walking in with whatever, with it and stuff like that. And then I feel like he would have gotten a grasp of it. But like I said, it was a weird time getting called up. So then as we get called up, of course, we're all at the Performance Center performing in front of nobody, just the camera crew and stuff like that. And it was an interesting time because it was a time where you can actually start getting your character stuff in, because you weren't, we weren't like traveling, and there wasn't much being on TV, especially
and
live.
you're not performing to a live crowd. Like the way you wrestle is different because you're not worrying about, hopefully this pops and the reactions. Like you're not worried about a crowd reaction.
Right. It was a time where you definitely could have slowed down and got a little bit more character development, involvement, and stuff like that, just because the world was kind of on hold at that time. So you definitely could have done some really cool things and got some character development in, and which we were excited about. And then we were there about a month, and then of course everyone, if you don't know, Jackson Riker tweeted his support for Trump at that time, and at that time, which got a lot of backlash from the office and some of the locker room, which he apologized for. I believe he spoke with the people from the locker room, but that we were taken off TV. Steve and I went in there the very next day after the tweet, and we were told, this will all blow over. Don't worry. This will be brushed under. We're going to get you guys up and running.
Be back in 2 weeks.
We're going to get you guys up and running in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And of course, we're sitting there and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. Finally, it's about 2 or 3 months later. We're in September. We finally get a call. All right, we're bringing y'all guys back. You guys are coming back as a trio. I was like, okay, you sure? Come back as a trio. Yep, we're not gonna do Forgotten Sons. We're gonna do something else. We're gonna, I don't know, shave your beards or do whatever. We're gonna do something. We're gonna get your look change. All right, wait for an email. Never got an email, and we started waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it wasn't until December, so it's like 3 months later.
So you're like, 6 months of just not doing nothing.
Yeah, not doing anything. And in that time, we're pitching stuff. Steve and I were sending stuff to the writers. We're sending stuff to creative. Just anything and everything, stuff that would stick to the wall. We pitched to be Bray Wyatt's characters at one time, where I would dress up as the bunny, and he would dress up as the hog, the pig, and stuff like that. There's
some clickbait for you.
Anything and everything. we were pitching it. We pitched stuff with Lacey Evans at the time, where she would clean up our look. And she would kind of like turn us around into Southern gentlemen, or and that type of stuff. So we were pitching stuff quite a bit there, and it would just nothing would stick. And then finally, December, that's when we got the call, like, hey, come to TVs, and then we're going to pair you with Baron Corbin, and that's when we're like, okay, which. That was 100% their creative. It was me and Steve had nothing to do with it, with the look, what they wanted and everything. They 100% pitched that to us. Here's what we want y'all to do. Here's how we want you to look. Here it is. So we were on new territory, because that was the first time, I guess, in my career where it was almost like acting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, here's the characters we want you to play, and now you have to make the best out of it. So
and
now,
then you had 6 months of sitting there waiting for an opportunity. So of course you're going to try to be a character.
right?
You know
right.
what I mean?
So now you're like, diving in. Okay, what is a knight? What is what does he think like? What does he do? And so you're trying to, getting in your own head of like how a modern day knight would live and stuff like that, and we're just trying
you're
to
going
go
from a character that was naturally you,
right,
to having to play a knight.
Yeah, to having to play a knight with Corbin. And so we would get into Corbin's ear, just anything and everything to make it work. And then, that wasn't too long until Steve got released. And then, of course, I was part of the budget cuts after Mania.
One thing that was brought up too, and you said it to me, is that when, let's say you're getting somewhere with a writer and a pitch, they have to go into a meeting with Vince.
Right.
And it might be an 8-hour-long meeting where the focus is only on tell me what we're going to do with Roman this week. Tell me what we're going to do with Seth this week.
Yep.
And that, unfortunately, is where a lot of people, fans they say these guys are unutilized. No, everybody's trying. It's just the person producing it has his toys, his favorite characters. You know what I mean? And that is unfortunate. I don't mean this as an insult, but like a lot of your best years were wasted sitting on the sidelines. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping, and you are a lot younger than me, so I was thinking, the narrative and everything, the experience you went through, because the difference between you and the eccentric character and Adam Shear is you might not be as an emotional guy up front. You're a family man. You're one of the boys.
Yeah.
You're maybe have been a little too nice.
Right,
and
that's always been my, I guess my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
It was, I was always told I needed to be a little bit more business selfish.
Yes.
And so,
because you're swimming with snakes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right,
Everybody's got their own personal agenda.
Yeah.
A lot of times this industry is we want brotherhood, and we're building that with the narrative. But you never know in the locker room. It's everybody's fighting upstream to just get that one chance.
Yeah, fighting for 4 minutes on TV.
Fighting for 4 minutes on TBS.
Because you had, like you said, you have your people that these are our 5 or 6 top people, and they're going to get their time. They're going to get their promo or their segments throughout the and then it slowly gets worked down. And so a lot of people like for myself, I was trying to fight to get on 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever. Whether it was with Corbin or whether it's Forgotten Sons, whatever. You're fighting. Because if you do great 3 or 4 minutes of television, maybe they'll give you 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
And then once you get 6 minutes, maybe they give you 8 minutes. Maybe they give you 2 segments with 10 minutes, And you just like it's always been like a pecking order. And like you said, with the people already there, they're already established, and we were the new people coming up. Like it's had to start all back over to where we were.
The one thing about where the different ways we wear our emotions on our sleeve.
Yeah.
I definitely saw it in this match where it wasn't a guy that was able to sing his songs on live events better than everybody else. It wasn't the actual best kept secret. It was just like, as the match progresses, there's this raw emotion that comes out of you, and it's in the fury of the elbows. It's in the precision of the hits, and to be able to react in a fight full of emotion with such precision is a skill that not many warriors have. You know what I mean?
Wow, thank you. That's just years of frustration.
Yeah.
It's just years and years of frustration, and everyone deals with frustration differently. Some people cry, some people get angry, some people take it out on others. And
you take it out like a cowboy.
There's things, I mean, like I said, maybe that was my thing. Was I was always too nice. Maybe I was, I thought of other people. Especially with me being in several tags. I've always depended on other people, and then felt like they'll do the same for me. But when in reality, it wasn't. It wasn't. Because. Those 2 guys, I love them to death, Buddy and Steve, now they're off doing their own thing and they're very successful. And now I'm kind of just back being me. So now I get to express my feelings and my frustrations.
About breaking out of a prisoner society.
100%. And it's just like, and here I felt I've done everything right. I felt like I've, kind of kept to myself. I didn't rattle the cage per se. I was, like you said, very nice, kind of one of the boys and stuff like that. But that, that is still got my head cut off.
And that's a thing. Like, you come from such the old school mentality of how the business works. You're influenced and based off of classic wrestling, etiquette. And I think that's where everything. It is a lot more, and you didn't have to get over on the indies as a super indie guy to get there. So you're probably not used to that fight. I always have to get a lot of guys that come up through the indies. They're just used to fighting so hard to get themselves over on every stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna get myself over here. I'm gonna get myself over here. And they went up, and everybody's told me stories of all the guys that would follow Paul Heyman around, still just fighting to get themselves over.
Right.
And you're just like, nah, I'm above that. Just look what I do in the ring.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's it's whoever's yelling the loudest at that point. You know what I mean? Not hitting the hardest.
Right. Yeah.
It's who's yelling the loudest. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Let's go into some. I think we've done a lot of really good justice to your career thus far. I want to do a couple funny stories.
Yeah.
Number one, I'd like to. We got a tweet. How did you meet EC3? Tell a little about meeting EC3.
The essential character. That was during our time. I think we were Forgotten Sons were just kind of coming up, and EC3 was one of the I wouldn't say indie darlings that came in, but he was one of the guys that he had experience. Of course, he was with WWE before as Derek Bateman and stuff. And
he still came in as a former world champion, and that creates a certain persona.
And then once he got out, he kind of controlled his narrative in other ways, and then he came in like a world champion with Impact and stuff like that. Did a lot of great stuff with them, and so he was brought in as as one of their going to be NXT top guys. He was another guy that they were going to put the brand kind of on his back and stuff like that, someone that they were going to launch. And so we were all kind of part of Terry Taylor's class. And Terry Taylor, I mean, I think
mad props to Terry Taylor.
Yeah.
His fingerprints are all over everybody that comes through these doors,
Yeah, very much so. And that's another mentor of mine who, like I said, has fingerprints all over me and my work and stuff like that, of making stuff look real, making stuff meaning something, working on those details and making things mean more and bigger as they should. So that's how me and EC, we started talking, and then we found we had like a lot of similar interests and everything like that. And then he actually asked Steve and I, to ride with him to shows, which was a big thing. Which at that time, Steve and I, we were just by ourselves. We would just drive around even if new people came in and they offered, Steve and I would politely decline. But with him, it was just different. Yeah, he was like, "Hey guys, I don't mind driving." He took a liking to us, and so we did. We hopped in his truck, and man, we shot the shit for 2.5 hours in the entire way, and we got to know each other a little bit more. And I think we saw our vision of ourselves and what we saw the business was very close to similar of how we see it and how we wanted to do things. And it was just, I was very intrigued by him, and it was great to hear how how he'd been in the system and how he went out and how he controlled his narrative and how he got up doing so well with with other promotions and stuff like that, and what he continues to do with other promotions as well. And it was just very interesting to hear his stories and hearing him to talk and hearing his mind about the business and everything like that. And it was very cool and something that I cherish, because like I said, not a lot of people that come in with that kind of stature do that for people.
Yeah, he's very approachable and humble in that way.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember other people that came in like, "Hey, you want to ride with me?" or something like that. And so it was something that.
Do you have
very
any
cool.
Embarrassing experiences you could tell the listeners and viewers? You know, if he's okay, we could also tell the Jimmy seafood story.
Where he ate himself sick. Yeah. Well, as everyone knows, EC3. This guy's a fitness freak. This guy always looks great. Of course, he has an app that you can use, and he can help you with your nutrition and also your
check it out through
plans.
freeec3.com.
Yes, please do. And we were on a road show, and we happened to drop at Jimmy Seafood. I believe it's up in Baltimore.
Yeah, props.
Delicious food. If you're ever in the area, please stop by and grab it.
Okay.
And we were there, and of course, this guy was very nice to us, very kind. He closed down the top part of his restaurant / bar just for the NXT roster to come in and just basically feast. And feast we did. They had anything and everything. We had, food, drinks, whatever. And, EC3 is very meticulous about his eating and how much he eats and what he does. And at this time, he did not know that there was going to be sweets and cakes and stuff like that. And so when that came about, I believe there was a couple of the boys that they saw how quick he ate a cake or something, like, oh, well, here, why don't you try eating this? And here, why don't you try eating this? And of course, EC3, being the man that he is, he doesn't turn down anything. So he kept eating it. Yeah. He just kept eating it and eating it.
And this was Gargano and Ciampa, right?
Yeah. So they just kept shoveling food in his face, and he just kept eating it. And by the time we all left, he was already on the bus in the fetal position, in his seat and stuff like that. And me, who had probably a few too many cocktails, I was just like, well, I'm supposed to be in that position, not you. But yeah, so that was one of the
I once watched him at Hash House of Go-Go. We got a chicken and waffles, and he ate it and almost passed it out the table. And I wanted to call him an Uber, and he drove home. I'm like, man, it was like that because it's that shock to the system. Yeah, lethargic, what I mean? And Hash House of Go-Go is the biggest chicken waffle you'll ever have.
But very thankful that we kindled our friendship. One of the stories that we have, me and Steve, like I said, we just met EC3, and me and Steve have been known to drink, here and there, and we'd offer him. We were drinking a bottle of wine, and at that time, and we offered, hey, we know you probably don't drink, or maybe you do. This is just getting to know you. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, I ain't no stooge. He's like, so he grabbed the bottle of wine, and he did a great chug, by the way, impressed Steve and I. So that's when they're like, okay, well, this is, he's dudes. All right in our book. Really some male bonding time that we had. And, that kind of sealed, like, okay, this guy's cool. And he's like, yeah, he's cool with us and stuff like that.
If you were to, you're an elevator pitch with anybody, you're a wrestling fan, you got a 3-letter brand on your shirt, you got a minute or so to pitch them the narrative. Pitch them not only the narrative, but yourself within the narrative and who you become.
So with the narrative, it's wrestling shot cinematically. It's a fight club that is storytelling. It's wrestling at its absolute best. You really get to dive in deep into people's characters. You get to really live vicariously through the characters. You get to go through different emotions. Each match is different, and each character is different, as we all are. I now find myself as a character in the narrative, and the way I see myself is I am no longer the yes man or the nice guy or the guy that's willing to do anything and everything for a 3-letter brand. It's more out to get mine. I at one time believed in the American dream of, if you work hard, treat people fairly, then you'll get what's yours. And then I figured out that there's people on top that who didn't work hard and who don't treat people fairly. And so now it's my turn to take away their American dream, and that would be that's what Westin Blake is all about. Is a man out to set and to destroy anyone's dream of becoming what they think they are, a professional wrestler.
I love that. I love the I'm here to take away their American dream. I love that. Who do you see knocking on the door for you in the future? I mean, there's probably a couple obvious dream opponents. There's probably some fantasy booking with former tag team partners, obviously. But who would you like to knock on the door? Whether it's bring the best out of them or them bring the best out of you.
You know, single wise, there's wrestling. Man, I'm a man who likes any and all challenges and stuff like that, and I believe if it's right, then it's gonna work. I wouldn't say I would have any like dream matches per se right now, because all my dream matches will be people of prior wrestling, because I believe once I step in there with anyone, I believe that I am in there to win, and I'm there to take their head off, and I'm there to, like you said, I'm there to take their dreams away by any means necessary. And I believe I can do that in any country, and I can do that in any form, and I can do it anywhere at any time against anyone.
That's a great answer, because that is something EC3 and I have said privately. We've said it publicly that this is an advertisement. You know, give him the chance to kill your top guy, because he will.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things where I'm so excited to help unleash you onto the world, but watch your progression and how you wrestling is poetry to me.
Yes.
And you also are a poet in the ring. You just your sonnets are violence.
Right.
And that is something that I'm looking forward to seeing the right or wrong person walk in your path. And there isn't anybody on any three-letter brand on any network show right now that I know you can kick all their asses. Like, you're a legit tough guy.
Right.
So I want to see this play out.
Yeah.
Book Westin Blake to kill your stars.
Yeah, and that's what I plan on doing.
All right, thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you, man. Yeah, appreciate you.
Good.
If I crisp up my sweet potatoes in the air fryer, it almost feels like a dessert. If I put a little stevia on it, some cinnamon, it's fucking excellent. But I mean, I can microwave them here and eat them and it'd be fine.
No, I've had them on there. It's
a different ballgame.
It's a different ballgame. Yeah, air fryer is a different ballgame, especially what you just said. I can't have sweet potatoes anymore. It fucking sucks.
Oh yeah, keto boy.
Burger IM fucking has some sweet potato fries that are really good.
Well, as you keto and get to a goal, as you continue to keto and you get to your goal, what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw you on Project Narrative, my nutrition and training app, and we're gonna get you a nice little program going where not only will you get your workouts custom made by me, you also get the nutrition aspect, and we can add in carbs. I know a great place to place your carbs during your daytime, so they're maximizing your muscles and they're not, spiking your insulin and you're getting fat. It's all science, really. But hey, throw it to the ad. Yeah, I mean, all right, so I have the Project Nutrition workout app, but also, as you can see, 3-brand hoodie, sleeveless here, and Psycho Boy right now on freec3.com and the Wearable Propaganda. If you buy sleeveless hoodie, you buy a Psycho Boy t-shirt or tank top, I'm gonna send you the current split I just made up. I call it Psycho Boy Aesthetics 2. But I'm just emailing it to people, so a couple of people bought it. I was just testing it out. Do people actually really care about my entire, this is what I'm doing. I wouldn't recommend it for you, but if you want it, buy a shirt, I'll give it to you. So whatever.
So you just offered a free workout if you buy a shirt?
Yeah, 5-day split. It's 5 workouts. You could take that for a month.
Yeah, that's cool. And have a huge Psycho Boy difference. You know what I mean?
Maybe if you put in the effort.
You put in the effort.
Listen, the only thing that works is consistency.
Yeah.
But, people like bells and whistles, so.
Yeah.
You get a shirt.
Buy a shirt, get a workout. So Westin Blake is gonna knock your fucking block off.
Oh man. What was that last line in the Westin Blake?
The dreams. It's he's like, I'm here to destroy your boyhood dreams.
Yeah.
I'm here to kill you.
Take your head off. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I think one of the narrator verbiages we came up with is kill the head and the body's dead, which I think I took from a football player who knocked somebody out in the midst of a concussion pandemic. And it was just like, whoa, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, yeah, but it was cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's cool as shit, Westin Blake.
Yeah, he has such a, honest personality too. Like, he's a guy that like you take his he really should be already working as an agent. He has such a great knowledge for the business. But we say it in the interview, and we're saying it again, like, book Westin Blake, he'll take your top guy's head off. Yeah. Definitely. Like,
he's a star killer.
He's the star killer, yes.
I think is
what
that was over.
Yeah.
We said, and then also let me take a brief second to apologize for the squeak in the beginning of the interview, because I know Patch wants to rip my throat out because I sat in the squeaky chair and I tried my best to get out of it without it squeaking, but I only made it worse. So my apologies to you, Patch.
We have a squeaky chair here in Justified Prince, and we keep it around just to really get annoyed by whoever sits in it.
Yes.
And it's usually Adam. Like, Adam's the one that sits down in it, and it's just like we can't give Adam any shit over it.
We'll go over what our punishment for
Yeah.
messing up here in the narrative is on another episode. Right now, let's focus on Westin Blake and his story too. Like, yeah, when Skylar, who would you want to fight in the narrative? He said Westin Blake. I'm like, why?
And I bet you he's regretting it now.
Like, why didn't I think of that off the bat? And the fact that, like, how we talk about synchronicities and the universe working out, like him filming his thing. Yes, him like constantly mess it up.
Yeah.
Free Westin Blake was coming out, and I'm like, obviously he spoke of our relationship and how much I adore and respect him, not only as a performer but as a man. But like, he was so perfect, and he's a perfect example of what, if you give an opportunity, what can you do with it? And the fact he's not working somewhere full time, the fact that you, the viewer, the wrestling fan, may not know that he is one of the best wrestlers alive, it's our goal and our mission to make sure the world knows that, and to make sure he is taking care of his family, that he adores more than anything in this world because of this industry, because he is that good at it. He is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of the best I've ever been in the ring with. And I've been in the ring with some of your favorites and some of the, quote, best. And if he's not better, I don't know who is.
And he also is a phenomenal example of a broken system. And the fact that someone can be on your roster with that talent skill and that talent level and just completely get lost in the mix.
The problem, too, with corporate wrestling is pigeonholing somebody or to label them something. So another thing, like with the Skylar story and Weston's, these men were labeled as, quote, good hands, which is the ultimate backhanded compliment. Like, we're really, really, really good at the thing people are paying to see, but we don't see you as being a guy that people are going to pay to see do it. It's like, what? What the fuck?
But we're gonna have you work with everybody that we need to get going and train and stuff.
And that's okay to an extent, but there's still, you said he should be an agent, and you're right because of his brain, but the guy, I don't even think has reached his peak.
He's only 33.
He's young, athletic, Texas built, real thoroughbred. Like, I wouldn't fuck with him.
No.
And I would fuck with anybody. I would fuck with you if you were on a bike or not. But
you'd fuck with the guy on the bike, but you won't fuck with Westin Blake.
He's a man.
Yeah.
He's a man, and I'm glad you guys talked about the Terry Taylor relationship and his insights and things like that. I'm glad he spilled the beans on my day at Jimmy's Seafood, where the reason I overate at Jimmy's Seafood is because nobody was like, back in the day you had to prove yourself being the new guy by drinking. But everybody in NXT, short of a few of the Good Brothers, kicking a few back low key, nobody was like binge drunk, pounding shots, where I made my name for myself with top guys. Oh yeah, what's up, Taker? You gonna do like elbows lines of Jack Daniels? I'm right there with you. Okay, I'm cool. But so I had to prove it by overeating, and then I had night terrors that maybe someday we can talk to Tommaso about. But whatever, dude. Blake deserves the world, And if we can just be one small step in him achieving that, mission accomplished.
Absolutely. Another big thing in the last week or so is the narrative is now free. We've now put both of our films out, and boy, what a response. Those view counts, the comments, the reviews that are being thrown our way.
Reviews and comments, yeah. And whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, they've been very, very positive, and people seem to be getting what we're doing. But this too only grows with word of mouth, so keep passing it out, keep showing people something different, something outside the wrestling bubble. Like, you're still gonna have all the stuff you love that's inside the bubble, but we can take a step out and try something different and be unique. Or as one of my mentors told me, don't be afraid to be bold. And this is what we're trying to do. But yeah, made it free. If you did pay for the narrative, I believe there's one comment about it, know that nobody made money off of it short of covering the expenses of projects, eating hot meals, and Patch over here not having to move back with his parents, and our overworked music producer.
Yeah, when you purchase a narrative or buy a wearable propaganda, the money we're making is going to the content creators that are helping create this, and we're all putting an insane amount of ourselves into the product, and you can tell. So we appreciate that support.
The thing about free too, as you mentioned, like all these talents are exploring themselves free. All the people that help with us, whether it's getting us locations, lighting, extra cameramen, they're doing it for free because they believe. And I just saw something that upset me, where I just saw like billionaires having a pissing contest over who has more money on social media. I'm like, what are we doing charging? Our business model is we're free. The world sucks enough. There's enough things draining your income. Like, times are tough. They're tight. Like, we give you something for free that hopefully you find something in and find yourself giving back. It's just paying it forward. So that's kind of the business model. I had a Jerry Maguire revelation late at night where I was texting an office about, I'm like, this is who we are.
Our brand is free.
Our brand is free, and we're freeing people, and we can't expect anybody to pay to be freed. So we're going to give you the best we can for free. Now, you want to throw us some money for a YouTube membership? Cool, that supports the brand.
Yeah.
You want to buy some wearable propaganda? Cool, it keeps the lights on and Patch.
If money's tight, just send the link to 10 of your friends, 10 people that you know. As we need to grow with word of mouth more than we need the T-shirt sale right now. We'll take the revenue, but we need people talking about it. We need eyes on this. We need to show the world that this is a movement that needs to be paid attention to.
Well said.
Yes.
Free yourself. Like the conscious one said.
Yeah, free.
Free you.
Yeah.
Free me. Free EC3.
Yeah. It's some good poetry. Do you have any homework?
I do. I have homework for both of us.
Okay.
And then also for our illustrious fan base here. This week's homework, because I've been meaning to do this, and I think after today you need to do this, is before you go to bed, for a week, try it out, write down what you need to do the next day. I need to do this, this, and this. I'd like to do this, this, and this. I might do this, this, and this. What you need to do, that way so you're not, your head's down in the clouds and you're like bouncing around. Man, I see you getting stressed out.
Yeah.
If they're sweating bullets and losing hair, I don't want to see that, man. I want you game, airtight. So write down what you need to do. Try it for a week. I'm going to try it. I'll let you know how it goes. Something I've been meaning to. Fodder does it, and he's shockingly organized. I'm not. You're not.
No.
We suck. But we'll get better.
Absolutely. I will be doing that. So is that the only homework? Do we have any reviews from last week's homework, or there was the one?
I don't know if I even checked.
Yeah.
Engage a stranger.
No, I think Space Cowboy, who runs our Instagram right now, so you are talking to him, not us. Sorry, it's the truth. No time to run. Time to do 7 Instagrams. But he said that there was a woman that said that both homeworks were number one. So it was contacting her father and the fact that her and her father were actually very polar opposites, and that's what she learned about the conversation. She didn't talk to her father for many years, called up her dad, they caught up, and she realized that they were opposites out of that situation. And Space Cowboy looks at me, he's like, what do I even say back? And I'm like, you controlled your narrative.
That's true.
You know, a lot of our message is, you know, it is 100% controlling the world around you. You can't control what you see on TV or what you put on the radio because it's all mind numbing. You can only control the existence in your own reality, this realm here. And that is what we're trying to help everybody understand.
Man, I made a relevant social media post to that today. May I read it?
Yeah.
It's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Did you write it in the bathroom here?
No.
Okay.
I wrote it in the gym parking lot.
We call the narrative bathroom the caption room. Because if anybody has to pee and he's in there, we're not getting it until we get
It's
that
the only
up.
place there's silence here. So
Yeah.
when I write, like, you know,
Yeah.
you write, you just gotta be in like a zone. All right. The worst prisons are not constructed of steel and stone. They are created by lies, corruption, false expectations, and the perceived judgment of others that lies in your mind. You can only be one of two things: self-imprisoned or self-freed. Mine's a prison, man.
And from what we can tell you, because we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, is that freeing yourself is something you have to work on every day. It's the same thing as what someone's trying to get sober. It takes everyday work. So every day, you know, do your best to wake up, take that list you start the night beforehand, and work your way through it and free yourself.
Dynamite conclusion. I don't know what to say. That's, I mean, short of that, CYN next week.
CYN next week, www.freethenarrative.com. Like and subscribe, listen, all that bullshit.